Welcome back, everybody. As you guessed, we are doing another armor test here. This one is a Level 3A vest from BulletSafe. So what's kind of cool about it is it's not just like traditional 10 by 12 inserts or anything like that. The actual armor itself extends out to the sides, and depending on how you set it up and your sizing and all those sorts of things, you could overlap it. Now, this one here, I should mention, is a medium, and I am 6 foot with a 42-inch chest, just to kind of give you guys a size reference. I could probably bump up to a large and still be good, but either way, they do have a sizing chart over on their website if you want to look at that. So the way I have it here on my body set up like it is that with the Velcro just kind of in the Velcro recommended positions, if you will, as it comes from the factory, there's about an inch gap between the actual armor itself. Now you absolutely can just take it and do that, and now I have nothing, and no gap rather, and there's armor overlapping. You can do the same on this side as well, but the way it's set up with the Velcro, that's how it works, and that's how it fits in that regard. Our shoulder straps here are completely adjustable, so you can adjust the height of it on your body. As a general rule, you kind of want to have it kind of where it is right now. So this is the top of the armor, and then you guys can see how it relates there to my neck. So that way it protects most of the important stuff, particularly if you're leaning forward to do any task and you take any rounds like that. You certainly would want them to be stopped. So Level 3A, for folks that don't know, is going to stop, in theory, we're about to find out, any pistol round up to 357 Magnum and 44 Magnum. So those are some pretty hot rounds. It should stop, 9mm, 40 cal, all those rounds underneath that in terms of power. And we're gonna shoot it up and see what happens. We're gonna get the party started with some 115 grain 9mm Minuteman munitions. 115 grain, for folks who don't know, is generally speaking harder to stop than some of the heavier weights because of the speed. The armor is downrange at approximately 10 yards. Let's check it out. You probably noticed it from the slow-mo, but we do have some ballistic gelatin behind the actual armor today, which is kind of a nice thing to have out here. We had our impact right here. Of course, from the impact point, we probably have about 4 inches of armor still out there and no penetration as we would expect. So we're gonna up it a little bit and just keep going. For those that are new here, all armor fails here. That is a standard policy here on the channel, and that's gonna continue today. But we'll see if it lives up to its level 3 rating for sure. And then after that, we'll probably have some fun. Next up will be some 165 grain Winchester 40 Smith & Wesson out of our ump. So longer barrel, faster bullet in terms of 165 versus 180 grain. And we'll see how she does. Let's check it out. Impact right here, almost in the center. As you guys can see there, absolutely no penetration as you'd expect. I can feel the bullet stopped in there, and we'll keep going. We're stepping it up again, and we're gonna hit it with some 357 Magnum. This is the Federal Premium 158 grain HydroShock personal defense load. It's spicy. Unfortunately, this box has seen better days. It lives in my ammo bag specifically for these tests, but we're gonna put it through our 686. It's got a 4-inch barrel. Beautiful, beautiful gun. And we'll see how she likes it. Let's check it out. From the slow-mo, you probably already know what happened. We had our impact here and no penetration at all. In terms of like back face deformation, if you will, it's definitely more than the others though. You can tell it was substantially more. Basically like this whole area right here of the armor pushed in, but still good. The armor itself is still, going all the way up here, all the way out on the sides. It's not pulling it in and balling it up like we've seen in some armor tests. So doing good in that regard. Let's keep going. Next up, we have this little guy here. I literally saw it on the floor in my garage before coming out here. It's the Federal Micro Slugs. So slug out of a 12 gauge. It is not rated for this, but I think it'll stop it. We shall see. We'll load it up here in our Mossberg It's a 14-inch short barrel shotgun, and see what happens. Let's check it out. Although that's a mini slug, they have some pretty good velocity to it, and it hit this thing pretty darn hard, as you guys can see, and it also hit right next to that 40 Smith & Wesson, so kind of a compromised area there. Stopped it. So I think what I'm going to do next will probably make it fail. We'll see. Maybe not. But I want to show you guys what it looks like underneath. You guys can kind of get a better idea of what we're working with here before I start poking holes in it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll do one more that it probably will survive. But yeah, so here's the armor itself. You guys can see if I pull it away. The slug is sitting right there, nice and hot and steamy. So it definitely caught it. That's how it works there on the back as well. And we're gonna keep shooting it. Although this armor is multi-hit rated, as you guys have seen, it's lived up to all the claims that a level 3 alpha plate should live up to. At some point, with enough hits, something should get through. So we have our MP5 here, and we're gonna fire a little burst at it and see what happens. We got 30 rounds loaded up, 115 grain again from Minuteman, and we'll see how it does. What happened there? Helps if you seat the mag. Let's go check it out. Unfortunately for this poor piece of armor, I shoot full auto MP5s relatively frequently and can control them pretty darn well if I seat the mag. And we had probably 2/3 of that mag go within a hand size group there, even in full auto. So we did have a couple failures simply because you're pounding the exact same spot over and over again. And that was already compromised by the slug and the 40 cal. So what we'll do next is pull it out and kind of go over everything here to finish the video out. When I was pulling this insert out just now, one thing I noticed that was different than I believe any other 3A poly armor that I've tested is that it appears to have actual padding on the back, which is interesting. So one of the things people say a lot in these videos down in the comments section is that even if it stopped like with the 357 Magnum or the Slug, it's still gonna, you know, you'd wish you were dead or it could still hurt you or whatever. Well, it could. However, if you actually look at the data of people that actually have been shot, generally speaking, there's minimal to no trauma outside of bruising behind where they get hit. But anyway, it has padding there, so I'm going to rip it open actually, since it's already been shot up at this point, and see what's going on. So the UHWMPE, which is polyethylene, for folks that are new, I realize some of you guys, this may be your first video ever seeing this stuff. So the way it works is, it actually, when the bullet hits it, because of the heat generated by it, it causes a bunch of friction. That friction causes it to, this material to heat up, and then very quickly, I'm talking like nanoseconds, it goes from a solid state to a liquid state. That liquid state grabs it and then it immediately cools. So that's how polyethylene works. So that's why we have these different layers here for different ratings, right? So they actually have this styrofoam back here as an additional source of padding if you get shot, because obviously it doesn't really weigh anything. So it's kind of a cool little differentiator. There you go. How many college degrees do I have? Way too many, still can't talk. Okay, so that definitely is different than other things out there on the market, but it kind of could be a cool feature for a lot of folks. And one thing I should also point out, I think I touched on it in the beginning, is the amount of coverage that you get with these type of plates, or inserts rather, excuse me. So you're, depending on how you actually set it up on your body, you can get full coverage, 360 degrees, whereas most soft poly armor inserts that you see out there on the market are going to be 10 by 12 or 11 by 14. This obviously much larger than that. And a couple other features, like we already mentioned, shoulders are adjustable. It has this good breathability on there. You can pull your panels out and wash it, which is good. So if you're somebody who wears armor for a living, it's going to stink. Trust me, I did it for years. I can personally attest to that. It has this little patch area, those of you guys that want that. There's a ton of different sizes as well. And the part that I don't think I mentioned yet that's also very cool is that this plate, or this carrier here, body armor system, comes in at $299 as of right now. So that's really competitive out there in the market. I believe there's a free shipping code. If there is, I'll put it in the link, in the video description and below in the comments. But so for the amount of coverage you're getting, I don't know of anything out there, and I could be wrong, in the 3A space that is lightweight like this, that gives you that coverage that costs any less than that. And it also, of course, includes the carrier. So in terms of a value proposition, pretty darn good. In terms of, what armor system is right for you, I've mentioned this before, but again, we always get new folks. It's the likelihood of you being shot by a rifle is extremely low. According to the FBI, you're more likely to be beaten with a club or an improvised tool than shot with a rifle. So the overwhelming majority of civilian-involved shootings are pistols and occasionally shotguns. And obviously this will stop those, so that certainly is important. Additionally, right now, this particular one that you guys saw me wearing in the intro is a little bit rigid. However, over time, that will become more malleable and a little bit more comfortable. However, regardless, it's still a lot more comfortable than wearing hard armor, and lighter weight, of course, as well. So pros and cons to everything, guys. It's up to you what system you're going to go with for the threats that you perceive and the weight that you're willing to wear as well, because that absolutely is a factor. So I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about the stuff that we didn't cover here, you can always post those down below in the comments section. However, if you actually need an answer to your question, the best place to reach me is at my Facebook page, without question. I respond to everybody over there. Sometimes it takes me a few days because there's a few 100,000 of you and only one of me, but I do see them, whereas on YouTube and elsewhere, I don't always see what you guys are writing. So that's pretty much it. If you guys aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the notification bell, please do that as well, regardless of your subscription status. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.